Massive gap down today in the stock market, guys, and many stocks are following that to the downside quite aggressively. Semiconductors are on the sell-off a day prior to Micron's earnings. In this video, let's take a look at the market. We'll take a look at indices, tech stocks that will include Tesla, SpaceX. SpaceX is holding a really important zone that I mentioned yesterday, but what does it tells us? Is this a buy here? Well, we'll get to that. Not that quick enough, right? But we have to see the confirmation. And well, as I said, take a look at semiconductors, especially the ones like Micron and Sandisk selling off just day before earnings. So a lot of stuff to talk about in this video. With that, I want to let you know none of this is any financial advice, only for education purposes, just sharing my opinion. Please do your own thing. So on S&P 500, we actually not have any surprise, guys. We are continuing in our negative structure that below 749. Lately, I have been mentioning to you that we will remain in this ongoing weakness, and we got to that very zone of 734 right now. The next zone of importance, we are today seeing a reaction there. It is trying to be green, but after a gap down, so it's not necessarily a green, it's still red on the compared to the yesterday. So we are still technically in the decline and we are still in the weakness. It usually this little bit of a green today would not make it bullish right now. It's just it tried to fill the gap, and as you can see, as it tried to did, it rejected at the significant level above, and thus it continues to remain in the weakness. Okay, so yeah, 749 will remain the weakness right now. There is no even multi-day strength, and it's testing that last zone where until below until above that we are overall can stabilize, but below that forget it, guys. Below that you can then again our magnet to look for will become 695 on S&P 500. Micron's earnings will define quite a lot tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get to that in this video to talk about, but S&P 500 is in negative. Nasdaq 100 unfortunately lost the zone, as I said yesterday to you guys in the video, that even though it held yesterday our zone of importance right for hours, but it closed so close to it that anything below that is just gonna break it. Well, the gap down was so aggressive, guys. Like, look at this massive gap on an index. It's an index. It's not even an individual stock. It's an index. This gap down already pushed it below the next zone, and thus kaboom. Nasdaq 100 is kaboom right now, guys. Everything is to the downside near term below that 725. Oh, 725 below, right? I'm gonna get rid of those zones above. We don't need them anymore. Their purpose has been served. And right now our magnet technically is $700. Let's see what Micron does, but the point is that momentum will remain to the downside as we are below now this 720 area, this 720 to 725, this yellow zone that I have highlighted there. There are significant levels there, the zone. So that is an overall structural significant level break, the zone, and that's why it's a little bit in the overall trouble. The next magnet is 700, and after that is like your magnet would be 636. Problems ahead right now. Momentum to the upside is not there, it's to the downside. Tesla, misery. Tesla, the misery right now. What a bummer on this thing, right? So this thing, so our zone yesterday worked out for the support to the play to the upside yesterday. Great. But technically our zones are still working as they are supposed to, and 393 below was the downside bias. Once we lost 393, you can see today a biased continuation to the downside, and I don't know what to tell you. It's like, damn it, Tesla, right? Anyways, guys, the thing is that upside stuff is all gone. Okay, that is all gone. 393 below is a break of the price action, and therefore, and that's why you are seeing a, it's not even trying to hold because it's a continuous downtrend. That stubborn 414, guys, is just not making it happen, right? A lot of sellers definitely there, but today gap down, loss of 393 was just, poor thing. What to do from here? Well, right now, at least in the near term, it remains in the downtrend. Okay, yes, it's in the downtrend. What we'll have to see if before we even start talking any upside this week, if that potential even has to build and come back again, we have to see Tesla above 393. Otherwise, we are at this point entering a troubling territory. We don't want to see an important zone be tested multiple times. We have tested this zone multiple times. The more we test without breaking a critical zone above, it's most likely going to break. And that's where the problem is. We are testing this like 4, 5, 6, 10, I don't know, gazillion times now. And it's just, if it doesn't get above 393 and breaks below blue zone, our next lookout on Tesla is 344, unfortunately. Okay, so yeah, right now it's not looking good in the price action. If we have to stabilize on Tesla, it should be, we have to close this week closer or at least above 393. Otherwise, no, it's going to start to get a lot troubling. All right, SpaceX. And I will be providing my members an update on Tesla's, how my position is looking like, what I'm doing in my members only video. That particular video may come out later today or tomorrow. Okay, so because I'll be talking many of the stocks and they are planned as for many of the things that require attention to the long-term setup side and all, and those updates I provide to my members. If you're interested to be a member, you can check out the details for a membership in the description of this video. All right, SpaceX. So SpaceX, I mentioned that watch this zone of 150 if it can hold. I wanted to see what will happen here. Will the big institution will hold it? Technically, it's holding the price where it opened originally, right? So that is holding $150, but does it make it bullish? No. I mentioned that even if it holds here, it's not bullish. Just for a day, it's a bounce. It's a day trade bounce. It's all that good stuff. Okay, that's something that we are okay with. You can just use my tools to trade with the day trade side of the things. You can also use for easy day, and well, you can also use it for swing long term. Tools will help on all of that, but you can see once we got above the cloud, also green structure, technically it was a day trade bullish side of the things, but overall right now and multi-day we are still in the weakness on Tesla. Oh, sorry, not Tesla, SpaceX. And a little bit of a bounce though. It's a bounce that we have, but you can't trade it longevity until it gets above 175 area again. Okay, I mean, the structure price action will not turn around on this thing. Okay, below that will remain in the weakness. So it's just a bounce for the day, nothing more than that. All right, so Nvidia. Okay, let's take a look at Nvidia. Now, Nvidia failed to go above 211 yesterday and thus remained in the overall weakness for us. And unfortunately, as it was already getting multi-day weaker below 208, overnight gap down also didn't help, and multi-day weakness continued, and Nvidia remains in the weakness, guys. Yeah, it's days away before even if any upside has to begin. Like right now, it's just got to the next significant level zone and rejecting through that already, going down. If any little bit again any upside has to come again, Nvidia, I have said you can't trade it swing right now. You have to trade it more like day trade, multi-day, nothing more than that. If any upside has to come on this thing again, we'll have to get above 203 to 204 zone. Otherwise, no, you're kaboom. Everything is kaboom. Pack your bags. Kaboom. AMD gap down overnight, a little bit trying to come back on the day, but this is where it's getting worrisome in a way that little bit of a failed previous high breakout, which means buyers are getting exhausted, which eventually turns the stocks into a distribution phase. You may be surprised when I tell you this, that overall structure is not bearish, right? Yes, overall structure is not bearish technically. Overall structure is fine even until 480, but your worry right now is that if you have a long-term position running, guys, these are the times that, as I have told you previously, to take profits, partial profits, whatever, manage the position. You don't have to just keep holding your long-term position forever. Take some out, take some partial profits, because we are most likely going in the distribution phase here. And with these failed highs breakout, it puts the stock in the distribution phase, and then you're finally watching if we lose that zone below. So far, it's a bit of a gap fill. It tried to do that, but nothing more than that. Reacting between two significant levels. So yeah, it's in the weakness. Micron earnings, let them happen before making any big decision. ARM continuing in its weakness from the loss of that 426. This was already, I told you yesterday that it's getting in the multi-day weakness, and that is pretty much the case. And it had an extension, great, now coming back, okay, no problem. Our magnet can be 330 area and below that, levels per levels below, but yes, it's in the weakness, it's not in the upside momentum right now. Broadcom, yeah, it's broke the price action again yesterday, coming down, remains in the negative structure still for us. Even if any upside has to build, well, we'll have to first start closing above 386, then we can talk upside. Otherwise, no, we will remain in the weakness on this thing. Okay, Micron is all what you are waiting for tomorrow and today and forever, right? Look, guys, at this point, if you have a long-term position running, take profits before earnings. Some of it, 50% of your position, take it off. We did lose a structure today, a price action at 1,000. What is it, 1100 almost. We lost it today, and reacting and rejecting there, quite a turnaround. Price action is negative, at least in the near term. Multi-day, tomorrow's earnings, no one knows what's going to happen through the earnings. I provided you gap up gap down scenarios in one of my videos a few days ago, but you should take profits, some of it at, like, take 50% off the table from your position or something. If you have a really good profits running, you don't have to risk the earnings. Anything can happen. All right, so though currently structure is in the multi-day weakness, is it overall bearish? Not fully overall bearish. Technically, we are on Micron, we are where we were just last week almost. Okay, so it's not that it's like kaboom, it's just that it's breaking a price action to the downside right now. So in the near term, multi-day, and rest earnings will define at this point. Okay, so that's where Micron is. It's definitely in the multi-day weakness right now. Overall, we still have some room, and let's see if earnings stabilizes it tomorrow. Otherwise, no. Sandisk. So Sandisk also coming down low, losing a structure 2166, but it's not overall bearish until 1847. All right, that zone still is overall good zone. However, multi-day weakness is definitely there, which means the momentum to the upside is not there. At this point, Micron's earnings will define Sandisk also what it has to do. Most likely, it's going to react with Micron's earnings tomorrow. Just like on Micron, if you have profits on Sandisk, consider taking, and you should be already taking some off. TSM, quite a brutal gap down. It is holding a structural zone, 442. Let's see if it also reacts tomorrow. Something is definitely spooking these. Again, they were extended quite a lot, guys, every other day going up. It just took what South Korean market to give up on Samsung and Hynix, whatever those stocks are, and these things also followed suit, right? So something is, over leveraged, and it's just that it just takes one trigger to click in the over leverage, and it creates cascading effect of sell orders, right? Because everyone is so leveraged to their teeth that it's just, they're margined, right? With a little bit of that stop loss and all, because they're leveraged also. So whatever their principal capital they have put in there, it also exponentially gets eaten away through these little bit of volatility, right? Because they're leveraged. So anyways, let's see if it holds 440. But definitely principles of trading in the extensions, take partial profits, whatever. Overall, it's holding still 440. But below that, it's gonna be definitely getting much more in the weakness. Definitely is in the multi-day weakness. So that's that. Intel also gapped down. However, it's holding. It was green quite a lot. A little bit now, selling off with the day. But it is still overall bullish structure here, guys. Okay, on this thing, look, in the extensions, you gotta take partial profits, right? Manage the position. If you lose a significant level below, all that good stuff. Overall structure is what I'm telling you, which is still bullish, but that doesn't mean you gotta keep holding until overall structure also breaks. You can take partial profits. That's the principle. Overall structure break is more like, okay, that's your hard stop loss. But before that, you gotta size it and out the position, right? Below 132 area, we will remain in a little bit in the weakness, multi-day weakness. I did the gap fill, then giving up the gains after gap fill, classic technical. But it's not overall bearish, but can build into some multi-day weakness here, slowness and all. So accordingly manage the position. Seagate also quite a dip lower, but it's just where it was a week ago. So, and it's already trying to fill the gap. Again, be careful tomorrow with the Micron earnings will define quite a lot. I would say that it is at a zone where this is an overall area that until here we are fine. I'm going to get rid of that zone. We don't need that anymore. 964 above that overall structure is still bullish. We are in the pullback mode. That is a multi-day weakness. Okay. Yeah, we are in the multi-day weakness here though. So anyway, so definitely across the board, little bit semiconductors are in a state of some spookiness today. Okay, they are losing their momentum. Not all of them are overall bearish, but they're losing their momentum. That is putting them in the multi-day weakness. And then definitely Tesla is troublesome today. And then we do have some other tech stocks doing better. I'll be talking about those with my members as always. But definitely market is looking like it may want to rest now. Okay, it seems like it did its thing, you know, tested the things and all. And at this point, market is in the multi-day weakness. It's in the overall pullback, but it's looking like it want to rest a little bit. Definitely multi-day weakness is quite strong. So just keep that in mind, guys. So with that, that's all I had. If you found it helpful or valuable, please hit the like, subscribe. You can leave in the comments as well if you want to see something more in these type of videos. If you want me to also cover news side of the things, technically I would suggest if you are just following the technicals, you can all cut out the noise because of the news, because news is mostly made up narratives, guys, that they build up or cherry pick the things based on what the price action has does. That's why I really don't put out newses in my videos. But if that's something you think you want to look into through as well through these videos, just leave a comment. And also leave a comment if you're like, nope, price action is great, that's only how we also trade and that's what we want to see. Leave that comment also below so that it gives me confirmation that, you know, we are all good. All right, guys, see you in the next videos. Take care. Bye.